The dress was perfect, a vision of white lace and delicate embroidery. It shimmered under the boutique lights, like something out of a dream. She stood before the mirror, hands trembling as she traced the fabric, her heart pounding with emotions too tangled to name. "I want to see you in that beautiful wedding dress." His words still echoed in her mind, a promise, a plea, a command. He had said it with so much love, so much conviction, as if the future was already decided, as if nothing could break them apart. But standing there now, staring at her own reflection, she felt like an imposter in a fantasy that wasn't hers anymore. The past weeks had been chaos, the kind that kept her awake at night, twisting in bed with thoughts she couldn't silence. It wasn't just about the wedding, it was about everything leading up to it. The lies, the secrets, the things left unsaid. Love was supposed to be simple, wasn't it? Two people choosing each other, standing against the world together. But reality wasn't a fairy tale, and she had learned that the hard way. She lifted the dress from the hanger, running her fingers over the lace, trying to remember why she had chosen it. He had been there that day, holding her hand, smiling at her like she was his whole world. This one, he had said, eyes gleaming, this is the one, you'll look breathtaking. And she had believed him, believed that nothing could shake what they had. Then everything changed. A knock on the door pulled her out of her thoughts. She turned quickly, heart hammering. "Are you ready?" The voice outside was familiar, careful, hesitant. She swallowed hard, looking back at the dress one more time. Ready? That was the question, wasn't it? Could she really walk down that aisle, knowing what she knew now? She reached for the zipper, her fingers trembling as she stepped into the dress. It fit perfectly, hugging her in all the right places, making her look like the version of herself she had always dreamed of. The version he had dreamed of too. But dreams weren't reality, and some dreams shattered before they could ever come true. Her breath hitched. Was she really going to do this? Was she really going to marry the man who had betrayed her? Her heart pounded as she stared at herself in the mirror, the wedding dress hugging her body like a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. The weight of it, the fabric, the expectations, the lies, pressed down on her shoulders, making it harder to breathe. Another knock, louder this time. "I'm coming," she called, her voice barely steady. She forced herself to move, stepping toward the door, feeling like she was walking through a dream, no, a nightmare. As she turned the knob, she was met with a pair of concerned eyes. "You okay?" She nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just taking it all in." The lie burned on her tongue. She wasn't okay. She hadn't been okay since the night she found out. Since the night she saw the messages. Since the moment she realized the man she loved, the man waiting for her at the end of that aisle, wasn't who she thought he was. Her friend stepped inside, eyes sweeping over her dress. "You look beautiful, beautiful." That was the problem, wasn't it? This was all supposed to be beautiful. The dress, the wedding, the future she had planned with him. But now it all felt like a performance. A show where she was the lead actress pretending not to know the truth. The betrayal hit her like a fresh wound, raw and bleeding. She should have confronted him. She should have screamed, thrown things, made him explain himself. But instead, she had stayed silent, watching, waiting, pretending. She didn't know why. Maybe because part of her wanted to believe there was a mistake. Maybe because she needed proof. Or maybe because she wasn't ready to let go. "Come on," her friend nudged her, breaking through her thoughts. "It's almost time. Time to say I do to a man who whispered sweet lies. Time to promise forever to someone who had already betrayed her." Her pulse raced as she followed her friend out of the room. Every step felt heavier, like the walls were closing in. The hallway was filled with laughter and chatter. People waiting for the bride to make her grand entrance. They had no idea what was going through her mind. Then, Just before she reached the doors leading to the ceremony, she saw him, standing at the far end of the hall, adjusting his cufflinks, looking calm, collected, like a man who hadn't done anything wrong, like a man who wasn't hiding a secret, like a man who hadn't been with someone else, just weeks before their wedding. Her stomach twisted. He turned his head, and their eyes met. For a split second, she thought she saw something flicker across his face. Guilt, fear, or was she just imagining it? Then he smiled. That perfect, charming smile that had once made her feel like the luckiest woman in the world. Now it made her sick. She gripped the edge of her dress, her mind racing. She had two choices: walk down that aisle and pretend, or walk away and finally set herself free. Her chest tightened as she stood frozen in place, staring at the man she was supposed to marry. His smile was warm, inviting, like nothing had changed, like he wasn't hiding something from her. But she knew the truth. The messages she had seen weren't a misunderstanding. They weren't innocent. They were proof that while she was busy planning their future, he had been entertaining someone else. She swallowed hard, her heartbeat drumming in her ears. He started walking toward her, his polished shoes tapping against the marble floor with each step. She felt her friend's gentle nudge. Go on, it's time, time to shatter the illusion, time to stop pretending. She inhaled sharply as he reached her, his eyes softening as he looked at her in the dress he once said he couldn't wait to see her in. You look breathtaking, he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. The words should have made her melt. Once upon a time they would have, but now they only made her angry. Did he say those same words to her? The other woman, did he hold her the same way, whisper to her in the dark, while telling her that she was his future? Her fingers curled into the fabric of her gown. The weight of it suddenly felt unbearable. He reached for her hand, but she stepped back. His smile faltered. What's wrong? Everything was wrong. She opened her mouth, ready to say it, to tell him she knew, to demand answers, but she hesitated. Not because she doubted herself, but because she wanted to see it. Wanted to see the moment realization dawned in his eyes. So instead, she forced a small smile. Nothing, she said softly. I just need a second. He hesitated, then nodded. Of course, I'll be waiting at the altar. She watched him walk away, his confidence unshaken, his head held high like a man who thought he had her wrapped around his finger. Her stomach churned. He really believed she was still his, but he was about to find out how wrong he was. As soon as he disappeared through the grand doors leading to the ceremony, she turned to her friend, her hands shaking. I need you to do something for me, she said, voice trembling with suppressed rage. Her friend's brows furrowed. What is it? She took a deep breath, steadying herself. Get my phone. Now, her friend hesitated, confused but nodded. She rushed back to the bridal suite while she stood alone in the hallway, her pulse racing. She could have waited until after the wedding, could have confronted him in private, could have spared herself the humiliation of a scene. But why should she? Why should she be the one to carry the shame when he was the one who betrayed her? No, he wanted to see her in this wedding dress. Fine, she would give him exactly what he wanted, but not in the way he expected. Her friend returned quickly, pressing the phone into her shaking hands. Are you sure you want to do this? She met her friend's worried gaze, her own eyes burning with determination. And with that she pulled up the messages, the proof of his betrayal, and took a deep breath. Then she pushed open the doors, stepping into the ceremony, ready to burn everything to the ground. The room fell silent as she stepped inside. Rows of guests, all dressed in their finest, turned their heads toward her, their faces lighting up with admiration. The music played softly in the background, the melody sweet and hopeful. At the end of the aisle, he stood tall, his eyes locked onto her, a small, confident smile on his lips. The way he looked at her, like he was the luckiest man alive, like he hadn't betrayed her, sent a fresh wave of anger crashing through her. She tightened her grip on her phone. Her heart was pounding, her stomach twisting, but she forced herself to move forward, one step at a time. Each step felt heavier, filled with the weight of everything she had kept inside. The guests were watching, whispering, smiling. They saw a bride walking toward her future. But she wasn't walking toward him. She was walking toward the truth. She stopped halfway down the aisle. Gasps rippled through the room. Confused murmurs spread like wildfire. The officiant blinked in surprise. "Dear, are you all right?" He took a step forward. His smile faltering. "Baby? Baby?" That word made her sick now. She raised her hand, holding up the phone for everyone to see. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She had prepared for this moment. She had saved the screenshots. Every message, every lie, the ones where he told the other woman he felt trapped. The ones where he promised he'd find a way to end things. The ones where he laughed about how she never suspected a thing, except she had. And now everyone would know. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Before we begin," she said, her voice echoing through the room, "I think it's only fair that everyone here knows who they're really celebrating today." His face went pale. He took a step forward, panic flashing in his eyes. "What are you talking about?" His voice was calm, controlled, but she could hear the crack beneath it. "Good, let him feel it." She turned the phone toward the guests, scrolling through the messages, her voice unwavering. "This," she said, her voice growing stronger with each word, "is the man I was about to marry." Gasps, shocked expressions, people covering their mouths in disbelief. She turned back to him, her eyes burning. "This is the man who told me he wanted to see me in this wedding dress," she continued, her voice trembling with fury, while telling someone else he wanted to be free. The silence was deafening. His face twisted in horror. "This isn't the place." "No," she cut him off. "The place was your bed when you let someone else into it." More gasps. A few people in the crowd murmured, some shifting uncomfortably. His family looked horrified. Her family, furious. He reached for her arm. "Please," she yanked away. "Don't touch me." Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to cry. Not for him. Not today. He looked around, desperate, searching for a way out, but there wasn't one. She had given him a chance to be honest. He had chosen to lie. And now she was choosing herself. Lifting her chin, she turned toward the guests, her voice clear and strong. "There won't be a wedding today," she announced, "but there will be a celebration." Someone chuckled. A few others clapped softly. Then her best friend stood up. "Hell yes, there will be." And just like that, the mood shifted. The whispers turned into cheers. The tension melted into laughter. Someone yelled, "Open the bar early." Another shouted, "DJ, play something good." The energy in the room flipped, from shock to empowerment. She turned back to him one last time. His face was a mask of humiliation. "You wanted to see me in this dress," she said, tilting her head. "I hope you enjoyed the view." Then, without looking back, she lifted the hem of her gown and walked out, toward a future that was hers, and hers alone. The music kicked up behind her. The celebration had just begun.